I want to know from you folks at home. Do you already have a CJ Stroud jersey? Let me know yes. Let me know no. One of my coworkers, Matthew Peterson, he was at the Bears Texans Hall of Fame game, and he said behind Caleb Williams, the second most jersey he saw was CJ Stroud. Yeah! So let me know down in the comment section. Do you already have a Stroud jersey? Let me know yes. Let me know no. And if it's a no, I have some great news for you. During our next watch party, Texans at Steelers preseason game number 2 for your Houston Texans, we will be raffling off a Stroud jersey during that watch party. So make sure to join us this Friday. We'll be going an hour before kickoff, so around 5 p.m. Central Time. Don't miss out. We'll be raffling off a CJ Stroud jersey. A ton of fun. I'll be doing play-by-play analysis on the game, so don't miss out. We'll be giving away that CJ Stroud jersey and having a hell of a time. The Texans just got some great news. Thank you for joining me on today's show. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs, and this is going to be a little bit of a different show than we're used to here on Texans Today because I want to break something down a little bit more abstract than we normally do. We usually just go like cut and dry, the news and rumors around the team, but this is something that I wanted to give a little bit more of a deep thought into. Now, the Washington Post posted earlier that the NFL Players Association, they've engaged in high-level discussions with the NFL about the potential implementation of an 18-game regular season. The NFLPA's executive director said. So, Jeremy, what does that mean for the Texans? Well, doesn't every team get an extra game? Why would that mean anything for the Texans? I'm getting there. Let me tell you what Lloyd Howell, the head of the NFLPA, had to say. We have talked at a very, very, very high level, superficially, with a recognition about, this is something that we should be talking about. And we should really kick the tires and understand what else goes into that decision-making process about adding an 18th game. And we obviously all know, boom in the comment section, Roger Goodell he talked about, multiple times about how he wants an 18-game schedule for the NFL. We know Roger Goodell wants it. And even some players. Joe Burrow stated he'd be okay with having an 18-game schedule as long as, each team got a couple bye weeks during the regular season. So, could we see an 18-game schedule pretty soon for the NFL? Just last year we had different kickoff rules. So, obviously, the NFL, they move quick on these things. So, I wouldn't be surprised if in a year or two we see the NFL move to an 18-game schedule. Continuing with what Lloyd Howell had to say. The simple fact of the matter is when you have a growing enterprise and there are opportunities within that intervening period of time where progress could be made and you could tweak the existing CBA legal document, why wouldn't you want to do that? I call it bargaining. I call it amendments. I call it updates to what is now a living document called a CBA. Yeah, I want to be able to have our membership in a position to jump on it when we can, not wait until their playing days are done and it's like you go through the cycle all over again. So, all of this was a long, thing of saying, why is this even good for the Houston Texans? I'll tell you why right now. Well, first of all, this means more cap space for the Texans. And for them as a team this year, going forward, more cap space is a great thing for this organization. More games equals more money, which equals more salary cap space. And the Texans, they've operated under the salary cap for a while now. The past couple seasons, just this offseason, they've been really shelling out money. But before then, they didn't really have a star quarterback, stars to really, take up a ton of that salary cap space. Well, now that they're going to have that in a little bit, maybe they'll have some extra money to play with as well. And it's also an important note to have. When the NFL expanded to 17 games, players received an extra paycheck, but it did not count towards the team's salary cap space. And I had to have somebody explaining this to me, which I'm going to now relay that information to you. Basically, guys who signed a contract before the NFL expanded to 17 games, they didn't have in that contract that they were going to be playing 17 games. So for that 17th game, for guys who already signed the contract, they got an extra bonus check on top of that, really basically paying them for that extra game. And that didn't go towards the team salary cap because it wasn't implemented before that time. In short, 18 games equals more revenue, equals more salary cap increase, which is good news for your Houston Texans because, like I said, there's a lot of guys down the pipeline that need to be paid, and the Texans have a little bit more moolah. It's going to make things go a lot more easier than we have seen with a lot of other teams that are kind of like in difficulties with their star players and spending that money. I'll tell you how it helps one CJ Stroud in just a moment, but I couldn't do today's show if it wasn't for our amazing sponsor, GameTime. Last-minute ticket deals. They have flash deals. You can see the views from your seat, and they have the lowest prices guaranteed. I'm telling you that right now. I've been using GameTime for a while, and it's my go-to ticketing app for sporting events, concerts, and comedy shows. This year alone, I've been able to see Shane Gillis, Dave Chappelle, Drake, Adele, and I plan on going to multiple Astros games as well. Don't miss out on a once-in-a-lifetime experience by using GameTime to get you the best deals on last-second tickets. Buy tickets in seconds with just 2 taps. GameTime has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event and even an hour after it starts. It's the place to find last-minute seats. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Download GameTime today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Now, how this really helps the Texans is more money when the CJ Stroud deal is due. And I know he's only in the second year of his rookie contract. So at least 2 years until that deal needs to be done with one CJ Stroud. But hopefully that 18-game schedule will be here by then. And the Texans will have a lot more money to play with, a lot more money to deal out to CJ Stroud once that deal goes down. We have the updated top paid NFL quarterbacks on a per-year basis going into this season. You see, there's a 3-way tie for number 1. Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love, all at $55 million a year. 2 is at 53.1, and Jared Goff is at 53. Funny thing with this list, though, also, you know who you don't see on this list? Patrick Mahomes, which is kind of wild going into this season. And then there's another guy you don't see on this list, and I think this could really impact CJ Stroud and the Texans' negotiations moving forward after this next year and after the year after that, would be one Dak Prescott. What will his deal look like? If he's pushing for 60, 65, $70 million a deal, well, CJ is going to want to top that. He's going to want to be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. And that's where this whole discussion kind of goes back to the 18-game schedule. If CJ Stroud wants to be the highest paid quarterback in the entire National Football League, that's obviously going to cost the Texans a lot. And right now, if the Texans were to pay CJ Stroud, say, $65 million a year, kind of where we're currently going with the NFL salary cap, even maybe a $70 million a year contract, that would take up a large chunk, a huge portion of the Texans' current salary cap space. But if the Texans and the NFL go to 18 games, that salary cap explodes up, and they can beat those numbers by the former quarterbacks easily. They can give them $65 million a year because they're getting so much more revenue from that extra game. And that still leaves them a lot more extra space to spend on other positions, on other free agents, and on other players, which leads me to my last point. They can still pay their other young stars, because once you pay CJ Stroud, there's still a lot of other young pieces, a lot of young core guys that this team is going to have to pay moving forward in the next couple of seasons. The 4 that come to mind immediately: Derek Stingley Jr., Christian Harris, which I know he's a linebacker, so maybe not that big of a deal, but still, he's going to want to get paid eventually. Will Anderson Jr., and Tank Dell. All these guys, young, going to be looking for large contracts once their time is due. If the NFL goes to 18 games in the next couple of seasons, it will help the Texans keep and pay all of their young talent. And that will help this Texans team. It'll help Nick Caserio continue to build and continue to try to get this Texans dynasty off the road and going. They want to win. Obviously, they're all in on this season. They want to win this year. Tank Dell has said this team's vision, this team's goal this year is to go to a Super Bowl. But past that, once you have to pay CJ Stroud, once you get into the level of like how the Chiefs are right now with Patrick Mahomes, how the Ravens are right now with Lamar Jackson, how the Bengals are with Joe Burrow, you have to kind of find a way to make your quarterback happy, make him a really high-paid player, but also build the rest of your team. Make sure the other guys are paid. Make sure that you can pay free agents and build the best team around that quarterback. And the best way for the Texans to do that is if the salary cap goes up and they're able to pay CJ Stroud plus add more guys within that salary cap space. And the best way that that can happen right now for the Texans is if the league goes to an 18-game schedule. Now, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you made it this far, hey, shout out to you. You made it all the way to the end of the video. It's a real one. Roll call. So if you made it to the end of the video and you're already subscribed, drop those H's down below in the comment section. If you're not already subscribed and you made it to the end of the video, what are you doing? Go down and hit that sub button or go to youtube.com/TexansTV to get more free Texans content all year long, 100% free. All you got to do, go down and hit that sub button, and I'm telling you what, you won't regret it because we bring you Texans content on the daily. So, yeah, I haven't subscribed already. What's stopping you to do it right now?